Now it's time to settle a debate as old as British television itself. I asked the community to vote on the least funny British sitcom of all time. You voted in your hundreds and the results are in. In the previous videos of this series, I sorted the sitcoms into chronological order as they all had a fairly similar number of votes. But three shows in particular stuck out like sore thumbs. Get ready to count down the three shows that you think are the least funny British sitcoms ever made.
Number 3.
The title, As Time Goes By, was taken from the 1931 Herman Hupfield song, and the version recorded by Joe Fagin was used as the title music. It follows the relationship between two former lovers who unexpectedly meet after losing contact for 38 years. So, what was it about this inoffensive love story that failed to amuse so many people? While many people adore the series, especially as it starred two highly popular actors, Judi Dench and Geoffrey Palmer, the reasons viewers might consider it unfunny are rooted in its specific comedy style. The show is often described as gentle or subtle, with its humour stemming from the characters' witty dialogue, dry observations and the absurdities of their everyday lives. It's not a sitcom with a constant barrage of punchlines or physical gags which can disappoint viewers who expect a more overt or fast-paced style of humour. The comedy is character and relationship based. The real core of the show is the rekindled romance between Jean and Lionel. The humour often comes from their realistic bickering, the small challenges of blending their lives and the contrast between their personalities. For someone not invested in the characters or their relationship, the humour might fall flat. Critics and fans alike often use words like charming, warm and endearing to describe the show. The overall tone is cosy and nostalgic, which can make it a comforting watch, but not necessarily a laugh out loud one. For viewers looking for a more biting or cynical comedy, the charming tone might be perceived as bland. The humour can feel dated. Some of the show's comedic stylings, particularly in its depiction of certain characters or social situations, can feel like a relic of the early 1990s. While not universally considered bad, this can make the humour feel twee or out of touch with modern viewers accustomed to more contemporary, fast-paced or edgy comedies. Gentle and comedy do not always go down well together, as it seems from the votes given to this show. Over the 14 years there were 10 series totalling 67 episodes, more episodes than Only Fools and Horses, making it an undeniable hit. The show was also a hit in America, where there was an online fan club for the series.
Number 2.
Depictions of the church on TV often cause religious bodies to come into conflict with broadcasters. As well as being slated for not being funny, Rev also drew considerable criticism for being a godless representation of the church. It was created and co-written by star Tom Hollander, and most of the evangelical ire was aimed at him and his character. Hollander, as Reverend Adam Smallbone, becomes the vicar of an inner city London church after leaving a small rural parish in Suffolk. The lead character was depicted as a pathetic and useless priest. This was not just the opinion of a viewer or a critic, but the Reverend David Robertson, director of the Solar Centre for Public Christianity. Speaking after the last episode of Series 3 had been broadcast, the Reverend Robertson claimed the BBC comedy revealed the corporation's anti-Christian agenda. The Free Church of Scotland was not the only religious body to question the portrayal of the church in Rev. The leader of the Church of England, Archbishop of Canterbury, the Most Reverend Justin Welby, said that while it was great entertainment, it doesn't truly tell the whole story. Kieran Turner from the Evangelical Alliance Scotland said, "Whilst it's always interesting to see portrayals of church on TV, unfortunately Rev slips into an easy caricature of cultural Christianity. A dying white middle-class church which is far from the reality of many growing churches in the UK." The humour in Rev is often described as gentle or subtle rather than rolling in the aisles or falling off the pew funny. The show blends comedy with drama and serious social commentary, which can make it feel more like a drama with comedic elements than a traditional joke-driven sitcom. The show tackles heavy topics such as poverty, addiction, mental anguish and the struggles of a modern-day vicar's faith. This can lead to a bleak or depressing feeling for some viewers, especially in the later seasons. For some, his constant struggles can be difficult to watch, making it a painful experience rather than a humorous one. One review notes that the humour is so slight and polite that it knocks before telling a joke. The comedy often comes from the characters' struggles, the absurdity of their situations and the realistic, sometimes mundane, nature of their lives rather than from traditional punchlines. The show's ability to seamlessly transition from a humorous scene to a deeply moving or sad one can be jarring for some viewers who are expecting a straightforward comedy. The humour is often used to highlight the character's humanity and vulnerabilities, which can be seen as less funny and more poignant. In short, Rev is not a traditional laugh track sitcom. Its humour is subtle and intertwined with its serious themes and realistic portrayal of a modern vicar's life, which can be off-putting for those expecting a more conventional comedy. Before we get to the number one least funny sitcom, as voted by my channel viewers, I need to add a bit of clarification. Your votes might not have revealed the least funny sitcom. There were certainly a lot of nominations for this series, but is it a sitcom? Many of the resources I use for research do not class this series as a sitcom. However, as it's clear among my channel community, at least, you have voted on the basis that you believed the series is a sitcom. So, therefore, it's a sitcom.
Number 1.
I Woke Up One Morning was a BBC television series written by Carla Lane that aired in 1985 and 1986. Carla Lane's comedies were known for their blends of humour and pathos. They often tackled serious issues like depression, divorce and grief with a subtle, gentle approach. I Woke Up One Morning is about the struggles of a group of recovering alcoholics. It deals with very serious and bleak themes including addiction, personal trauma and the difficult process of recovery. This is a far cry from the light-hearted plots and escapism people typically seek in sitcoms. While it was produced by the BBC's comedy department and is sometimes referred to as a sitcom, its central theme makes it a very unlikely source for traditional humour. In the 1980s, the light entertainment department that produced most of BBC's sitcoms generally favoured recording shows in front of a live studio audience. This was a long-standing tradition in British television, seen as a way to capture genuine audience reactions and create a sense of shared experience. However, only the very first episode has a laugh track. The remaining episodes in Series 1 and all of Series 2 have no audience reaction. The production team felt that the laugh track detracted from the show's sombre tone and the sensitive subject matter it explored. This was a bold and unusual move that highlighted their commitment to the show's distinctive and more dramatic style, distancing it from a conventional sitcom format. Contemporary reviewers mostly only bothered with the first episode, so would not have been aware of the significant change in atmosphere in later episodes with no laugh track. It was noted that this was another Carla Lane series using alcohol as an influential element, although marriages still suffered without any adulterous content. One review described the show as wryly amusing, although bleakness is never too far away. This suggests that the humour, if it exists, is subtle and often overshadowed by the dark subject matter. This emphasised the show's purpose to explore the human condition and the realities of addiction, not to generate laughs. Critics found the characters did not have the life in them that they expected from Carla Lane, suggesting that as she was teetotal, she knew nothing of the experience of the people she was writing about. The show's classification as a sitcom is more of a technicality of its production than a reflection of its content. It was an experimental move by the BBC to blur the lines between drama and comedy, but for an audience expecting a conventional sitcom, the show would be a complete mismatch. Removing the laugh track moves the show from a traditional joke-orientated sitcom format toward a more serious, character-driven comedy drama. Nevertheless, it's the perception of the viewer that is important, and if there are prevalent signifiers that a series is a sitcom, that is how they will judge its success or failure. I Woke Up One Morning was judged a failure. So that's our countdown of the shows that, according to you, are the least funny in the history of British television. This list is a great reminder that even with the best intentions, comedy can be a subjective and risky business. I really appreciate everyone who participated in the poll and helped make this video happen. Whether you agreed with these picks or already furiously defending your favourite show in the comments, it's all part of the fun. Thank you for watching, and I'll join you in the next video.